Yeah, that's good.
Okay, sweet.
Okay.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi's a little bad.
So, do you have anything you want to say before we get started with some questions?
No, I mean, just really appreciate you reaching out and having me on. That's about it. I mean,
Well, thank you so much for responding.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
for sure.
but I guess I'll just start with like the question I usually ask first is like, how did you start running? And like, when did you start?
So I first started running when I was in third grade, and it was just like youth track, kind of. It was Woodstock Youth Track Club, which is the high school I went to, and yeah, I just ran for fun, didn't really take it too seriously. Did that for 4 years, and then took a little bit of a break and then started back up in high school.
So I feel like you started running pretty young. So did you do any other sports before you were running?
Yeah, yeah, I did pretty much every sport. Like between I'd say like first grade and eighth grade, I'd say I did like pretty much everything. I did like football, basketball, baseball, soccer, um, did golf, I mountain biked, yeah, stuff like that.
So besides running, which one was your favorite?
Um, I really liked football. I liked I mean really every sport, but football and mountain biking probably were my favorite.
Okay. So then you said you started running again ninth grade year, right?
Yes.
When you were running in ninth grade, what events were you doing then?
Mostly 400s. I did a few 800s, but yeah, pretty much only the 400.
Did you do cross country that year?
No, no.
No. So, which event out of 400 and 800 would you prefer like back then versus like it can be different now, but like when you were in ninth grade, which was your favorite then?
Definitely the 400. I'd say even still today is probably my favorite event, the 400.
Okay, so when you were running in ninth grade, did you feel like you were a pretty naturally talented athlete, or did you feel like you had to work pretty hard to get like to like the speed you were?
I mean, I'd say like what I was doing was kind of off talent my freshman year. I didn't really
Mhm.
train much my freshman year. But I couldn't really compete with the best of the best. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like if anything, I learned that like, if you want to be good, you have to work hard, even if you're talented.
Okay, so in your opinion, like why was the decision to go to Georgia? Yeah, I mean UGA.
I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into it. I think the first one is just the team atmosphere and everything and the chemistry that they have. I felt like they're a really good group of guys to be around, not just from like a training standpoint, but just people in general. And I think, there's a lot to learn from them in the world of athletics. I think the coaches, the coaching staff was great, and I think Coach Carroll brought in a really great team culture. So I really wanted to be a part of that, and yeah, other than that, it just felt like it felt like home to me, really.
Okay, so that kind of like brings me to like when you were in ninth grade, or like when you were like a freshman, sophomore, and all that. Did you think you were gonna run in college?
Yeah, so I didn't really think I was going to run in college until maybe sophomore year. I mean, I thought about it freshman year, but I wasn't fast enough to like get a scholarship or anything like that. But my sister she ran in high school. Her senior year was my freshman year, and she went off to college, got a full ride, and that kind of inspired me to be like, hey, look, like if my sister can do this, then I think I should try because it'd be really nice to get college paid for. So I took kind of sophomore year and junior year as a sort of progression towards getting a scholarship.
Okay, so what was your like weekly mileage and training looking like during those years?
Just like the earlier years of high school, you mean?
Yeah.
I'd say probably like 5 to like 8 miles a week during those years. No, no real mileage, I'd say.
So when you were training, was it more intensity training like sprints or did you ever do like some easy stuff? Like what was it like that for that wise?
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of sprint based stuff. Um, I was really mainly only running the 400, a little bit of eights, but mainly 200 and 400. So yeah, I took I took those events the most seriously, trained for those mostly. And then I obviously do some longer aerobic stuff, like some tempo work, some VO2 work, but nothing like really high volume to get me, to get any mileage up.
So during high school, which pro athlete would you say was your biggest inspiration at the time?
Probably Wade Van Niekerk, just because I think, his 400-meter world record, especially the way he ran it from lane 8, I think was just really impressive. And I just feel like his versatility as an athlete as well is very, very cool to me. Being world class from the 100 all the way up to the 400, I think that was kind of something that I wanted to bring to my game a little bit is versatility. So yeah, I think, he was definitely one of those guys that I looked up to a lot.
Okay. So, then going into your senior year, did you have any idea that you were gonna like get third all-time national time in the 800, or did like a thought like that never even cross your mind?
I mean, my goal going into the year was to run 146. I also knew the high school record was 146, but I didn't necessarily care if I ran like 146 low and broke the record, or if I ran 146 high and, you know, was in the top 3 or 4 all time. I just kind of wanted to run that time because I felt like that's what I would be capable of. And, yeah, I ended up hitting it kind of right in the middle of 146. So yeah, I was happy with it. And that's what I went into the year wanting to do. So
So I'm more of a distance runner, like 1 mile and 2 mile. But I was wondering because I saw you did the 146, and I was like, oh my God, that's so fast. And I was wondering, do you have a mile time? Like, do you know around what your mile is?
I ran the mile one time. It was my first race of junior year. I ran 4:32, but other than that, yeah, I haven't run the mile.
Hmm. So, what was your favorite high school race?
I'd say probably the um the Misfits Classic in Chicago, where I ran the 600-meter indoor national record. That was probably the most fun, just because the atmosphere there felt really cool.
So, which do you prefer indoor track or outdoor track?
I like outdoor better just because, I like the bigger oval. I like to have a little more space and everything. But I think indoor is also fun and it's good for development.
So, going into your freshman year of college, then, did you have any like plans to like? Did you have any goals of winning any championship races at the time?
Yeah, yeah. I went into the college season with the goal to win national championships as a team and individually. So yeah, I think out of all my goals, yeah, that was probably the number one.
So you got the national record in the 600, correct?
For high school, yes.
Oh, okay. So when you got that, like, what was your racing strategy?
I just wanted to kind of run it almost like, I guess like world record 800 pace is kind of the way I looked at it. So like, you know, for instance, David Rudisha, when he ran the 800 world record, he went 49 through, um, 400 and then came out through 600 in 114. So I thought to myself, well, if I'm running just 600 meters, then I could probably go out in 49 and come in around 115-ish, 114 if I'm, really lucky. So I just kind of wanted to emulate that as best as I could. Obviously, only running 600 versus 800, I could handle that. So, yeah, that was kind of the main thing I was looking at, just hitting those splits.
Okay. So then, going into the outdoor season of your freshman year in college, you won the NCAA championship, and like, what was your race strategy there, and like, what was going through your mind?
I think the biggest thing for me was just to stay relaxed through the first four and then just drop the hammer on them on the second lap because I knew if I closed as fast as I was capable of closing that nobody would be able to catch me and I wanted to be able to run from the front. So yeah, I was really just staying confident, staying poised and like I said, just being relaxed through the first four because I feel like a lot of times, people will front run and then they'll die. And so that's kind of why, front running often gets a bad rap because people aren't able to finish. But I felt like if I were to go out at a very controlled pace and just drop the hammer, I'd be able to lead the whole way and still run a good time and win.
So, in your opinion, like let's say mid distance it does not exist, what would you consider the 800 distance or sprint?
I think it's definitely more of a sprint than anything, just because I mean it's like 50% anaerobic at least. So, I mean it's really right in the middle, but I think it's more of a sprint just because the way you attack that first lap, especially at the highest level.
Okay. So this is kind of like random and I don't know if you would even like have an idea of this, but if you were to sprint all out, how far do you think you could go before like slowing down or like dying out?
Mm, Probably like 270, 280, I think.
Okay.
Anything longer than that,
Yeah.
you need
Like,
to have a little bit of pacing. Yeah.
I don't feel like you're really sprinting anything after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so then straight out of college, or like not even out of college, like it was you just finished your freshman year, you decided to go sign with Adidas for the pro team. So what was the decision behind that, like not finishing your collegiate career and just going straight to the pros?
I think the biggest thing was really just figuring out what was best for me from a career standpoint and, what aligned with my goals the best. And also obviously financials because, obviously being presented with a pro offer, the money is definitely something you got to consider. So, I just had to figure out which course of action would fit me best going forward.
So why did you end up signing with Adidas and not another pro team?
It was just the best offer that I was given. Um,
Mm.
yeah, I think, you know, there were other offers out there, but there weren't any that could match what Adidas could give me.
So were you using Adidas shoes before you signed with them?
No,
No. What shoes were
because
you
yeah,
using then?
um, well, I had to use Nike because I'm at a Nike school,
Yeah.
and then I would use Brooks trainers though.
So which have you raced in a pro meet yet?
Yes, yes.
Which one was that? I don't think I've heard about it.
Um, I raced in I raced in the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix my high school during high school, and I also raced at Music City in high school, and then I did New York Grand Prix just a few weeks ago, and then USA's.
So do you hope to win the I mean not win, go to the Olympics?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. That's my biggest goal for next year.
So what is your like training looking like now versus like what's your mileage like now and stuff?
I mean, lately I've been doing about 15 a week, a little less now that I'm kind of in championship season, but yeah, 15 is
Um
probably at the most.
So how do you feel about kind of like I used to watch a guy on YouTube named Clayton Murphy, and he was doing like longer distance stuff than some 1500 guys. So like, how do you feel about that type of training? Have you ever tried it or anything like that?
I've never tried it. I don't think my body can handle that, but I think, everyone's built different, so there's different training that'll work better for different people, and I think, I'm one of the guys who can benefit more from less mileage and more speed. But obviously there are people who, need to be doing more mileage and not necessarily able to run as fast in a short distance. So yeah, I think, that's one of the cool things to me about especially 800 runners is that, there's all these different ways of running and training for it.
So, do you have a favorite pro athlete currently? Because I feel like I've talked to like some other guys who are like going to the pros, and they said they're trying not to have one, and like 'cause they don't want to be attached to someone if they're racing them.
Yeah, I don't really think about anyone now, if I'm honest,
Mhm.
just because like I, like I'm one of these guys now. So
Yeah.
I don't really, I look more towards people who used to run, like David Rudisha, like Wilson Kipketer, people like that who, they've been out of the sport for many years.
I just think it would be very funny to see someone like get on the line with like Yaka Bingabriksen and they're just like, oh my God, can I get your autograph?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that would be funny.
um, so now kind of off running topic. What are three random facts about you?
Three random facts. I play the piano. I have a pizza Instagram account. And what's the third fact? Um, let's see. I need to think of a good one. Um, I don't know. I can't think of a third one. Those are like my best two facts about me, I feel like. Oh yeah, I did run two cross country races. I guess that's a fun fact about me that not everyone knows.
Okay, so I have to ask about this. Why do you have a pizza Instagram account?
I just like making pizza, so it's like genuinely I kind of want to open up a pizza restaurant in the future. So I just kind of mess around making pizzas, posting on Instagram.
So if running doesn't work out, is that your next career option?
It's probably one of the fallback plans, yeah.
So what were you majoring in your 1 year that you were in college?
International affairs.
Okay. So, do you plan to finish your degree if you, um, like ever, I guess?
Yeah, yeah. I'm still enrolled at UGA. I'm still
Uh,
taking classes there, so yeah. It was never in my intentions to just stop college. I
mhm.
always wanted to keep taking classes and stuff.
So you're still like, going to UGA, just not competing for them anymore?
Exactly, yes.
Okay. So after, you finish your college courses, do you plan to move out of state, like out of Georgia to maybe get like altitude training in or anything like that?
I'd consider moving if my group necessarily like needed me to move,
Mhm.
and I also probably take classes online so I could even move in the near future if I needed to. But yeah, I'm just kind of waiting to see like what group I'll join and how that's gonna work because I don't really know exactly if I'm gonna need to move or not.
So if you could join one pro Adidas group, which group would you want to join?
And the only one I know of that's purely Adidas that's like 800 bases is Atlanta Track Club, and I think being from the Atlanta area that would be really cool.
Yeah. So do you know about Tin Man Elite?
Yes.
So are they an option or is it like I don't know if they have any 800 guys at all right now actually.
I mean,
But
I wouldn't consider them just because I think they're probably not a group that would necessarily fit me. I already have I already know who my coach is going to be. So, um, but yeah,
so with the Atlanta Track Club guys, do you have like a favorite one of them? Because I know about a couple of them, and I think Shane Streech is his name. He seems pretty cool. I see him running at Cochran Shores a good bit. So
Shane Shrek, yeah, yeah. I think I'm more familiar with on the women's side. I think probably
mhm.
Allie Wilson's the coolest one to me, just because she. I think she make the team last year. She either made the team or was one place away from making the team in the 800 last year. Um, but yeah,
Okay. So what are your goals going into like your pro career? Like what do you want to achieve?
I just hope to make a splash in the international scene. I think you know America's been kind of devoid of like a real international star in the 800 besides Donovan Brazier. And, with him getting hurt, I think it's kind of left a hole for, the U.S. And I think I'd like to either fill that void or, when he comes back, we could both be up there and pushing each other to be some of the best in the world. And I think, yeah, something along those lines though, where I'm really up there. That would be amazing.
So right now with Adidas, are you training with anybody currently or are you training solo?
I'm solo right now, but there's a lot that still needs to be figured out in terms of that. Just because I
Mhm.
just made that switch. I mean,
Yeah.
I moved back home like literally yesterday, so there's like a lot of moving parts in my life right now that I got to
Yeah.
figure out.
So I don't have any more questions for you, but if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them.
Um, I guess tell me about your running career. I mean, so like who do you run for? Like you told me mile, 2 mile.
Yeah, so I'm more of a distance guy, and I started 2 years ago because my mom insisted I did after my two siblings didn't have a fun time. So I liked it. I liked it at like a good bit, but then the faster I got, the more I liked it. So I started training more, started to get faster, but it just kind of kept on going from there, and I kept getting faster, and I kept get loving the sport more. And I was doing a track workout with my brother actually one day. I was just like, I want to start like interviewing people. I feel like that'd be fun. I know a couple people that I could interview. So
Hmm.
I just started interviewing, and now I'm trying to get bigger and bigger as the channel grows.
Yeah, yeah. And so wait, what grade are you in?
I'm going into eighth grade, and I'm switching from St. Benedict's Episcopal School to Whitfield Academy.
Okay, and then wait, where will you go to high school?
Whitfield.
Okay, okay, sweet.
So
Sounds
yeah.
good. Well, I appreciate you having me on, man.
Thank you for letting me interview you.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.